Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Stock. In today's video, I would like to talk to you about 3 different companies, I think all of which I've covered before, maybe just at one time or several times, and one that I've covered quite a few times, and talk a little bit about what we saw in the markets today and how to play our trades moving forward on days that started the way this one did, and just how to take advantage of them in general. So, without further ado, let's get ready to rock. Welcome back. For those of you who are interested, down in the description is a link to my Patreon. If you go over there, check it out, and if you want to sign up, you get access to my growth portfolio, my dividend portfolio, my weekly newsletter, my weekly watch list of stocks, the private Discord that I have over there, along with the community that's over there where we go and we talk about the stock market. And boy, when it opened up the way today did, you have people get awfully alarmed. I know when I saw how far some of these prices were pressed down and that it was a broad market action, I got kind of excited, and I kind of wish that it lasted just another hour before rebounding the way that it did. Not so that we felt the pain longer, but so that there was more time to figure out exactly where I wanted to place my money and how much I wanted to place it. By the time I was ready to press that buy button on a lot of those stocks, the opportunity had passed me by, and the stocks have rebounded back to about the levels that they were at yesterday. So I still somewhat took a little bit of advantage of it, but not nearly as much as I wanted to. So let's talk about how that goes into the days ahead. As soon as we get to the stocks, we'll get there in just a moment. So anyway, that link for the Patreon is down in the description. You can go ahead and check it out. If you need a trading account, there's a link down in the description for WEBULL. If you click the link that's down there, it's a referral link. I get 2 free stocks, but you also get 2 free stocks just by signing up and depositing $100. Those stocks can be worth a total of up to $1,850, and that's guaranteed money in your pocket or in your trading account that you open up on WEBULL. They just recently added Dogecoin over there. They also have Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then they also have a whole bunch of other stocks as well for you to access. Go ahead and check that out if you need a trading platform. I better move on. If you haven't already subscribed and you'd like to, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, share it with your friends. Let's get on to the stocks. All right, so the market today was absolutely bonkers with the way that it opened up. Everything was down, prices were depressed everywhere, and all I could think about was taking advantage of the different buying opportunities that were being presented to me, and just wondering where the heck I should even begin because there were so many prices that were just down. And I had somebody comment that in the Discord that they started off being down a ton of money, and then by the afternoon they were only down a couple of bucks in their own portfolio. And I can tell you with my growth portfolio that I was down, I don't know, I think like 8 or 9% at one point just to start the day, and then by the time it was over I was green again. So I mean that's just a wild swing. I mean there's a lot of risky plays in there, and so I expect these wild swings to happen whenever the market's volatile, that they're going to move with much greater reaction to the market. So that wasn't unexpected. They are long-term holds. I wasn't panicking that I needed to sell or anything like that. Instead, I wanted to be able to dollar cost average. I even took a look at some call options to see if there was anything that I wanted to do there. And by the time I was about to make my decision, a lot of the moment had passed me by. I was hoping that I'd have time up until about noon or so, but a lot of the prices had recovered by then, at least up to the levels that they were at like about a day ago or so. Moving on from there, DraftKings is the first stock that I want to talk about today, and DraftKings I think is going to be phenomenal going forward. And I know with their earnings report that came out that they had a lot of excellent numbers in terms of growth. However, by the way the numbers that go for their marketing, it's just hampering their bottom line, that they're just not putting out the profits, or that it's really affecting their profits to spend as heavily as they are. But I think that DraftKings recognizes the amount of competition that they're up against, and they would really like to be the ones to win that market share battle. I know FanDuel, in Michigan, a report came out that in Michigan, FanDuel was actually number 1 in the market, and I mean, you can get exposure to them. I forget the ticker symbol. I always forget that one, PDP. Why? I don't know. You can look it up if you type in FanDuel stock. It'll tell you which one it is. So DraftKings spending, they want to be number 1. They want to they want to control that market share, and I'm really okay with them affecting their bottom lines in the near term, trying to come out as the top dog. And I'm okay with them spending to win the race for the online sports betting for the predominant market share. To me, that would be awesome, and I really like that they are spending in order to make that happen. I do want them to bring that under control eventually, but these growth metrics that we see from them, I think, are really strong moving forward, and I think that especially as we get into other sports seasons, especially with the NFL season coming up and with the reopenings coming up, I think that we're going to see a lot of strong things for the gambling stocks in general. I don't think that DraftKings is an exception, and it's one that I'm going to continue to keep an eye on. So let's take a look at the chart for DraftKings. All right, so what we're looking at here is the daily chart for DraftKings, and you can see they were not only above the 50-period simple moving average, but they were also above the 200-day exponential moving average. That's the top line is the 50. This bottom line down here is the 200, and both of which have positive slopes at least up until here. Then the 50-period starts to taper off, and then the slightest curve down right here that we see with the 200-period exponential moving average. And you could see, I think the 5/7, that was this day here, is when the earnings came out, and even the day preceding that was just not a great day for DraftKings. It took us almost down to that 200-day. It looks like it actually tagged below it just a little bit, and then we broke below, and then, well, the floor fell out of it for the time being. So actually, let's zoom out and see if we have any other support areas. Here we can go to the weekly chart, see what it has to offer us, and I mean, wow, we've really dropped. I'd say right around that high $43 range, even I would say down to, looks like maybe even $42, $43 or so. Looks to be about where we're sitting. This is on the weekly chart that we're looking at here. Let me go back to the daily. So at this point, this price that we have here, we had a low of $42.22. It looks like we ended the day at $44. And if we look into the post-market, it looked like, if we look in the aftermarket hours, it looks like not much has happened from that. Take a look at the analyst estimates on this. We're down near the low analyst estimate of $41. The average analyst estimate is $71, and then the high estimate at $105. I don't know that I see a 12-month price target of $105. I'd have to take a look and see how long ago that was called. What we're looking for, competition is going to be a mitigating factor for DraftKings. So FanDuel, MGM, Fox Bet, these are all different players in the field that they're up against. I think Penn National Gaming is also another one, and really they're battling for that market share, and we're also waiting for more legalization throughout the states. And as more states legalize, it's going to help drive that revenue. It's going to help draw that growth. But again, DraftKings has to keep on spending in order to play that competitive game for the market share. And what they're trying to do is add to their economic moat so that they come out as the leader in their space. So we have a significant amount of upside from where we're at right now, about $30, just shy of $30, more like $27 from where we're at right now, and that indicates about a 60-ish% upside from where we're at just to this average analyst estimate. And price targets have been adjusted more recently to say about a $60 price target, and I think another one was around that mid-65-ish range or so for the average price target, but that's still a 30% upside from where we're at right now over the next 12 months for DraftKings. I think that we're really getting into the opportunity for buying what we want to see as a bottom being established for this, rather than trying to catch a falling knife and seeing where it's going to stop. I don't know that we're going to keep on driving lower than what we saw today. Today was just a crazy day in the market. So if you're invested in DraftKings, in my opinion, from the outlook right now, I think that we're going to recover nicely over the long term, over the next 12 months at the very least. And moving forward from there, we're going to have to repoint as more information comes out and as we see how they're performing as a company. But I think that they have a lot of strength going for them, and I think that they will bring that spending under control. I think it's going to be a little bit of a while though, until really we find out who the winners are in that mobile sports betting and online gambling space. And DraftKings, like I said, they're spending to make sure that they can be at the top of that. All right, the next one is Coupang, and this is one that I've talked about before, and I think I only talked about it about one video or so, and you can see their IPO was all the way back here on March 11th, and what a time as a tech growth company to come out and IPO right among the sell-off that we have. And you can see it kind of traded sideways for a while, and then back, it looks like the 28th of April, and then further onward, and now we're down to about $36.15 as a low closing price that we have here. They do have earnings coming up. I believe that those earnings are tomorrow. Here, we'll take a look at the news. Yeah, notable earnings after Wednesday's close. So they do it in the after hours. And the one thing that Coupang has going for it is they're an online retailer out of, and they do a whole bunch of other things too. They're trying to get into food delivery services and everything. But the number one thing that I feel like they have going for them right now is the rocket delivery, where if people place an order for an item that's on their site before midnight one day, they will have that item on their doorstep the next day by 7 a.m. So from that midnight to 7 a.m., that's a 7-hour window. Now for for South Korea, which is what Coupang is out of, that's a geographically small area, and I believe that their distribution centers, I think that pretty much within 7 miles of where everybody would live is a distribution center. So they actually have an advantage geographically speaking. One of the troubles that they have is reaching out into other markets because they're trying to penetrate spaces that are already occupied by other companies. So like trying to come to the United States, for example, might be limiting to them. They are trying to get into Singapore, where again they have more competition, so they would have to pull more onto that market share. However, they have a lot of opportunity ahead of them within South Korea itself, and if they do manage to gain a fair amount of the market share in Singapore, then we could also see some of that strength come out too. So when you look at Coupang with the sell-off that it had recently, a lot of that I believe is attributed to the sell-offs that we've had recently with these high growth plays. And if you look at the analyst estimates that are here, right now it's trading under the analyst estimates that we have. So it looks like there's at least about a 30% upside to the low analyst estimate, and all the way up to that $62. I mean, we just have an astounding amount of room to get up there. As a matter of fact, from right here, we have about 40-ish% from where we're at right now, just to the average estimate. And if we were to get up to that high one, we're $10 shy of doubling our money. So what we're looking at is about a 70-ish% upside to this high. So anywhere from 30 to 70% increase over the next 12 months. Now with Coupang, I think that it is geographically limiting right now that we're contained within South Korea, and I believe that it's only offered in South Korea. They're working on taking it out to Singapore as well, and then they'll have to establish market penetration there as well. And if they get that rocket delivery service worked out in Singapore to work as well as it does in South Korea, I think that it's going to have a lot of strength. Its ability to penetrate into other markets outside of South Korea is really going to be the thing that would allow it to continue its growth. But I think for at least the next 12 months, we can see some strength returning to the price that we have since the IPO date, and we can see some of those higher prices come out as the analyst estimates suggest. All right, so with Opendoor Technologies, what we're looking is at a tech/real estate type play where they smooth out the process of buying, selling homes, and they also they'll buy a house, they'll flip it, and then they'll resell it, and through that process they will take some of the difference of that money, and then that goes towards their revenues. And in their most recent earnings, I think that they had like a 20% beat on earnings or so, and so that's why we see some of this strength that we have. Actually, let's take a look at the after hours. So you can see as it traded throughout the day, it bottomed out in the pre-market hours, $14.53 as the low, and then it ended, it looks like in the after hours, around $17.69. So we have about a $3 difference from where we were at pre-market until we got to post-market. And if we go back to the daily chart here, since that tells us pretty much everything that we need to know, we opened at $15.10 and we closed at $17.45. So $2.30 on top of that. So almost like, I don't know what you would call that, like a 15% gain for Opendoor Technologies from open to close. And I mean, just a wild day for them. And the earnings, I think that we had a really good beat. The earnings per share, I believe, was about on target from where it was at. And they've had quite a recovery from their Q4 numbers that they had. 2020 was not a great year for them. However, 2021 is supposed to return them back to 2019 levels, and then there's growth expected to happen in 2022 and 2023 as well. And if you look at the analyst estimates here for Opendoor Technologies, at $17.45, we can almost double just to get to the low 12-month price target of $30 per share. It is just over double from its current price, its closing price today, up to that average analyst estimate, and then it looks like we have room up to 42 as well. So this is a stock that has a lot of upside, and I believe if you look at tip ranks, I believe that the consensus there is $40 per share. That would be over doubling your money from right now. So if you're looking for a buying price, I would say if you're looking for a buying point for a company like this, if it's one that you read up about, you check out the background of them, you find out about their valuations, the multiples that they're trading at, and decide, is this the company that you would like to put your money in, that you would like to back? Do you see a future for them expanding into new markets and acquiring more properties in order to flip and resell? If so, this could be an excellent buying opportunity, and I think that you have time on your side. The rest of this week's markets, I think CPI data, PPI data, we have jobless claims, we have retail sales. There are just so many things that can cause more volatility in the market to close the week. I don't think that we're out of the weeds yet, or out of the woods yet, whatever the saying is. Either way, I don't think that these are just three companies. Really, today, to start the day, you could have really picked almost anything and ended the day up from where you were at. So be on the lookout for those things. These are just three of the companies that I thought that I would bring to your attention. So let me summarize. DraftKings, I think that DraftKings has a very bright future. Their spending is on marketing is going to cut into their bottom line. It's really going to affect their profitability in the short term, but spending so that they can end up on top, I think, is the important part that we see here. So really, I would pay attention to how well they're able to penetrate markets, the place that they're ranking among their competition. I think those are all the things that we want to watch. And then I think that will impact the bottom line later, that they will turn profitable and much more profitable by taking the approach that they are, rather than trying to worry about the near-term profits now. Coupang, I really think that the next 12 to 24 months could be interesting for them. I think we will see growth. I think we will see strength return to their share prices as we go forward from here. Their continued success really depends on whether or not they can get into other markets, or that they can expand their services, and really just faring against the other online competition that they would have. The more that they can establish themselves as the go-to place in South Korea, and if they can do that in Singapore as well, I mean, then we really start to catch on. And if they can branch out from there and really scale up their business, that scalability is going to be the thing that causes sustainable growth over time for Coupang. But I think in the next 12 to 24 months, I think that we could see a decent amount of strength come out of that company with some decent growth numbers. Opendoor Technologies has a lot of potential, but really, again, it's up to them. The ball's in their court to be able to buy more houses so that they're able to sell more houses and making that money on the difference in between. That's really a volume play. So the more markets that they get into, the greater they can increase their volume of buying houses and the volume of selling houses. And really, the advantage that they have is simplifying that process between buying and selling, and it also cuts out some of the fees. And so it also has the opportunity to save the buyers and the sellers money in the process. Where Opendoor Technologies catches their stride is simplifying that process and really compressing that timeline to buy a house, to sell a house, and really getting into more and more markets and having greater market penetration overall is going to allow them to buy more homes, which allow them to sell more homes, and through that process they're going to be able to produce a lot more revenue and turn profitability through that at some point in the future. And really, the sooner that they're able to do that really depends on the growth projections that they give us over time. As of right now, I think that they have a very green future, and I think over the next 12 months having the opportunity to double the money that you would put into it at its current price, I think is really interesting as far as the upside goes. I think that there's a lot more upside potential than there is potential for risk with Opendoor Technologies over the next 12 months. That's all I have for you today. So if you guys want to check out my Patreon, that link is down in the description. That link for WEBULL, if you need that trading platform, sign up, deposit your $100, get your 2 free stocks. Thank you guys for all the support that you show. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed and you'd like to, please do so. Hit that like button, hit the notification bell, share it with your friends. Remember, these videos are for entertainment purposes only. Always do your own research and due diligence. Contact a financial advisor before making any financial decisions. I'm Dr. Stock. Thanks for rocking with me. Now go get that money.